All right, we are back, and it's always a pleasure doing business with you. And we take a look at the week that was, especially now that the President delivered his State of the Nation address last night. And we take a look at some of the substantial issues that analysts continue to comment on. So let's take a look at other outstanding issues that we didn't talk about it just a while ago. We joined in the studio by Maudi Lentsoane, who is Managing Director of Lehumo Capital. Say, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so your impression of the speech?
Yeah, look, Colin, the president spoke, and I think, overall it was a good speech. One that, of course, talks about the fact that the era of promises is over and it's now about implementation. We've got to now go and work hard to make sure that our economy turns around. So some of the highlights, the issues around Eskom, that was quite important, for him to actually come and clearly address how the government is planning to really take care of that issue. We understand that the 230 billion will now be brought forward, allocated early, so that these challenges that Eskom faces can be addressed immediately. One of my, there are a number of, some of the issues. If you look at what Eskom really needs, is that the 230 billion is what they need just to pay interest over the next 5 years. So a lot of that money will go towards interest payment. So there's still a lot of work that Eskom itself needs to do to make sure that they deliver on that turnaround strategy. But I think overall there were a number of issues that he touched on. They want to prioritize and take care of the crime level. Those are some of the other issues that he made mention of. Of course, if you're going to be saying you want to invite investors to come into the country, you can't do that and not tackle some of the issues that are a bit of a challenge, such as crime in the country. Investors will always look into those issues and say there is a crime in the country. Let's
take a look at the issue of the Reserve Bank. I mean, there has been so much talk about what role what its role should be. Now, tell us about this noise and if it's justifiable to actually make some stakeholders to be uncomfortable. Will it rattle the issue of certainty in the country in as far as you're concerned? Yeah, the issue
of the Reserve Bank it's important, and I think I'm very glad that the president came out and articulated on it. It's never a good thing to hear politicians getting involved, particularly in the Reserve Bank affairs. The Reserve Bank should be independent, away from the government, and I think he came out very clearly articulated on its mandate. I think we have a very difficult challenges that we face. The economy is under pressure. We've got to pull from the fiscal policy and also from the monetary policy. So make sure that the two are coordinated towards ensuring that the economy recovers. There is a role that the Reserve Bank needs to play, which is the primary role, which is inflation targeting, but also with ensuring that, of course, the economy is well supported from a monetary stimulus point of view. Okay. What do you make out of the context of the speech, generally speaking? I mean, if the economy is hard pressed, should we, in the meantime, try to turn it around whilst we are dreaming of a future South Africa? Or what should come first? Resolve the problems, go to sleep, dream, and then realize them later? Look, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong, and I know he received a lot of criticism around the whole bullet train, the new city. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having such ambitions as an economy. But I think, of course, the people are correct in saying when a person doesn't know whether they're going to have food tonight when they go to bed and where their next bread is going to come from, those are some of the issues that needs to be really addressed. It's difficult for them to now think about a bullet train when clearly they're very much hungry, don't know where they're going to sleep, they don't know what they're going to eat. To be thinking about the bullet train is just not realistic. And I think I can understand where the criticism is coming from, but there's nothing wrong with having such ambitions for an economy such as ours. We need to look beyond those, but of course take care of the immediate challenges that we face. What will the new city bring to South Africa? I mean, what would imagine the implications of the building of the infrastructure? Yeah. And number two, who would live in it? I know the question also that came up was where and when. Yeah, the reality, Colin, is that you've got the whole migration of the people from the rural areas and moving into urban areas. That migration is taking place. And the problem is, because we've got limited number of cities and we haven't built new cities since the dawn of democracy, is that you then have the people moving into certain areas. That's why you've got, squatter camps developing in all sorts of areas. It's that challenge that we need to create new places. I mean, the Gauteng was built around the discovery of gold. We've got other mining towns where we're not seeing, where we discovered these minerals, but we're not seeing those, the same thing that created Gauteng being implemented at those
just
towns.
There, what do you think will be the economic drive of that new city? Because if you're talking Gauteng and gold,
yes,
then it means that the jobs that were created because of what Gauteng could produce, what's the reason why people were coming here? So where is that resource? And when the people go there, what will be the economic driver? Well,
firstly, the economic driver is the building of that city. It will create jobs, just building it itself, just the infrastructure around it. Secondly, it depends on where it's created. We hear the Eastern Cape, there is a new city being developed there. I mean, that's the ocean economy that could be developed around that new city. But of course, if it's in the Rustenburg area, I mean, that's a platinum rich area, and I'm sure there will be a lot of manufacturing sectors to manufacture those platinums that has been mined from those areas. But I think just the creation of the city itself, from the building of it, it's what we need. We need to industrialize. The same model that China is doing, they are industrializing and creating jobs in the process.
So we keep on dreaming. Perhaps the dream will become a reality later.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much. Maudi Lentsoane is Managing Director of Lehumo Capital, talking to us about his views on the State of the Nation address. Well, it's always a pleasure doing business with you. So don't go away. We'll take a break, and when we return, the program continues with Peter.